Hi, welcome to episode 100 of the Passionate Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. There is a Ravelry group for the podcast. Please come over, join. And thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much if you suffered through all 100 episodes up to this point. I can't believe I made it to 100 episodes. This is insane in a good way, in a very good way. This podcast has brought so much joy to my life, and I feel like I've grown more confident in my crafting thanks to doing this. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. I started when I was just like 4 months pregnant, and Tim now turned 3. So I've been doing this for almost 4 years. In December, it's going to be 4 years, and I'm very grateful for everyone who watches, and I'm happy that you accept me for who I am, and I think that's it. I don't know what else to say. So let's start. I have a lot of things to talk about. First off, what I'm wearing is also the first thing for knitting in the past. It is the Estee by Justina Lakoska. It is a wonderful top. This is what the pattern front page looks like. And this is what my version looks like. It should have had a curved hem that I did not do because I ran out of yarn. I used different yarn, and the yardage that I had for my yarn was different than the one suggested in the pattern. Here you can see the shoulder detail. It's a very nice lace with a bit of a cable. And it's a beautiful yellow. And, I'm one of those lucky people that can wear yellow without looking dead. I used McMullen Fiber Company's Sea Wool. That's a 70% merino and 30% sea cell blend in the colorway Sunflower, and it only had 375 yards per skein. The yarn that she used for hers is a linen blend that her husband carries in his hand-dyed yarn business shop thing, and it has over 400 yards, so I had a lot less. So this is what I used. I'm very happy with it, I have to say. Now, can you do the focusing? See, 100 episodes and I still don't know how to show stuff. But I used 2 skeins. I had 2 skeins and I used up every last bit of it. I think I had that much left after I bound off. So that's wonderful. And the yarn itself is great. It is a bit warm right now, so I am melting. But I'm very happy with it. I'm just very, very happy with it. I alternated skeins. I did everything you should do as a good knitter. And it turned out wonderful. I'm just super happy with it. So that's the first thing that I have done. The other things are 2 batots. If that is how you say it, no idea. The pattern is by Stephen West, and I've started both of these sometime last year as mindless projects. And I originally had planned to make both of them for myself, but I didn't in the end. I made this one for myself. I took this as my brainless knitting for my trip in Ireland. And I finished it in Ireland as well, I think. Yeah, I did. So this is the batot. I'm not going to put it on. It's like a shrug cowl shoulder warmer thingy. The thing is, I'm a very tight knitter. And I just thought, it's like a shawl. Who cares? And I used the needles that were recommended, and I used yarn weight that was recommended. And because I'm such a tight knitter, this here is not as wide as I wish it was. So I am wearing it. I'm going to wear it. I love it. I think it turned out great. I wish it would be a bit wider. So what I did, instead of finishing the second one, I just stopped. So I did only the first 3 segments. And then I did the I-cord bind off. And this is now for my son. I gave it to my son because he can wear it as a cowl. Just, like this around his neck to keep warm. And that way I didn't waste the knitting. And he has something new that mommy made for him. So it's a win-win for everybody. The yarn that I used for both. Oh, just threw it on the floor. So these are my colors. The yarn that I used is, for this one here, is On the Round Corriedale sock yarn, And the welts is Palouse Yarn Company 8-ply merino. And I used the exact same yarns for both of these because I just had it that way. So let's see what I still have. I have the leftover of the brownish yarn, and this is the label. It's a 90-10 merino nylon blend. So this is this yarn, and it's also this yarn. I got these two gifted. And then I do not have the leftover of the Corriedale that I used because I gave it away, but this is the label. It's from On the Round. And also On the Round, Corriedale soft yarn for the blue. So not sure how I managed to do that, but I did. And I'm going to show you, well, it does kind of sit on me the way it does sit on him. So maybe it wasn't wrong at all. I'm not sure. It's just not as drapey, and it's not exactly what I wanted. Let's just say it like that. And I'm pretty sure it's because I'm such a tight knitter. So I have all of this yarn left over. I'm not sure what to do with it yet, but I will find and I will. Something will come up. So I knit both of these on US Force. That's a 3.5 millimeter needle. And yeah, like I said, the yarns that I used are Palouse Yarn Company and On the Round. So here we go. This is mine in my colors. And this one here is Tim's. And I took pictures of him. When my husband took the pictures of me, Tim didn't want to have pictures taken. So we couldn't get both of us picture. And later when I took pictures of him, he was very fun. You know, he was in a fun mood and he pulled a lot of faces. So I put the pictures up, and Stephen West commented on it, which made me quite happy. It's embarrassing how happy it made me, actually. But yeah, well, I immediately showed it to my husband and said, look, I'm a rock star now. I'm weird. So yeah, these are the things I have done. For knitting in the present, I have a lot. I just want to start everything, which is bad. So I'm just going to go through things the way I get them. So first thing on the needles is the Topstücke by Bente Geil. I did not do a whole lot on it, but I knit a few rounds. It still looks like a black blob, which basically it is. I'm going to try and show you the interesting part. And you know, the color is just, you can't see anything. I'm still working on the raglan increases. It's going to be very boring to show off because, you know, very dark gray, you can't see anything really. I have it in this drawstring bag that I got from my friend Martina, and that's about all I have to say about this. Then, the Timeless Henley. I worked on that a lot. I finished the body, and I actually found out that it would look amazing as a tank top. Not going to have it as a tank top because I still have a lot of yarn left. So, and I actually brought the book so I can show it to you. I can show you what it's supposed to look like in the end. The pattern for the Timeless Henley is in Interpretations book number 3. It is by Joji Locatelli. And this is what it's supposed to look like. I have, like I said, finished the body, and it looks like this. I'm really happy with it. I put it on, I tried it on, and it fits like a glove. It's perfection. You can really see the difference between the yarns, which still is not my favorite part of this, but yeah, it's how it is. I used the lightest color again for the ribbing because that's how I decided to do things with this. I am done now with the pattern. The sleeves are stuck in it. And what I did to knit the sleeves to the exact same length, because I think I'm a bit short on yarn, is I wound off, and you know, winding skeins, not my strong point. I wound off the leftovers into 2 exact balls, you know, so I can do these sleeves with these. And I actually think I might be able to get to long sleeves because the sleeve does have a very long cuff. I'm going to show that to you again. on a picture. I think here you can really see. Can you see? That's a very long cuff at the bottom that has some buttons attached to it. So I think I might be able to get to the long sleeves with these, you know, just knit down the stockinette part. And then again, this one for the ribbing. So I hope this will work. I have not started the sleeves. As you can see, there's no needles in here, but I am really happy with it so far. And I think if you use like a cotton sock yarn, that is a thing in Germany. And I know that Grace from the Babbles Yarns has some cotton sock yarn in her shop. 2 skeins and you could knit this wonderful tank top. So that's might be an idea for the future. So the Timeless Henley is getting a lot of love. And yeah, I hope to finish this soon because it's just the sleeves, you know, and they're stockinette. So it's brainless knitting. And then I started 3 things because I'm crazy. And I finished 3 things. I finished 3 things as well, so I kind of felt like I can start stuff. The first thing that I started, and I mean I started, that's all. I started. I didn't even knit one row. I cast on and I knit the first row, and that's it. That's how far I got on this. This is the Bolin. It is a t-shirt or a top, a summer top. It is by Layla Robb. This is what it looks like. And I am using yarn that my friend Sandra from Kunterbunte Wolle dyed and gifted me. And it is 100% silk. This is what it looks like. I'm going to alternate these 2. And I think the finished object, you know, the shirt itself will be amazing and very drapey and wonderful to wear. But knitting with 100% silk, not so fun. There is no give in it, and it's just very hard on my hands. That's why I managed to do the cast on in 1 row. So I have to get into that pattern. The other knitting thing that I started is the Imogen Tea by Carrie Bostic Hodge. Hogue, but I don't know. She goes by Matter. And this is the pattern. It's another top because it's summer and I want to knit summer stuff. This is what it's called. And the thing is, this pattern, that's something I just don't understand. This pattern was part of a book that's called Matter Anthology #1 or something like that. And there's 4 versions of this. And the only difference is the sleeve length. There's the short sleeves, that's the one that I bought. There's a 3/4 length sleeve and there's a long sleeve, and then there's one out of wool, which this is out of wool and silk. So there's 4 different versions. And if you buy one pattern, you do not get all 4 versions. You only get the 1 version. It's only sleeve length. I mean, why isn't that just one pattern with options for sleeves? I don't understand. I don't have to. I don't have to understand. The other thing that I changed because I wanted to. This is supposed to be a bottom up in the round raglan. And I don't like that. Also, I want to use up every single last bit of my yarn. So I decided to do a top-down raglan instead. And I looked at the pattern, I looked at the numbers of the pattern, and then I looked at my at the pattern that I made for myself, my fingering weight sweater generic pattern. And the numbers are almost perfect. I think it's 4 stitches off. So I decided to just use my pattern that I put together for myself and me only, and put on the lace chart. And the lace, as it's supposed to be bottom up, I'm knitting it top down, and I did not switch the lace over. I'm just knitting it the other way around, because what I did, it's very scientific, you know. I just used this one here and put it on upside down, and I thought that the lace still looked great. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just knitting it top down with my numbers, my generic pattern, and put the lace on the other way. And I think it's going to work out wonderful. So here I am with this. Oh, I haven't talked about the other project bags. The Bolan and the Timeless Henley are in the project bag that I made. And this one here, the Imogen, I have in this basket that my friend Ushi made for me that I absolutely love. So, good. Now, that's out of the way. I am using Giddy Aunt yarns. It's yarn that I just bought in Dublin. So I'm very proud of myself. It's an MCN sock. The colorway is Halfpenny. That's a bridge in Dublin. This is the label, Giddy Aunt yarns. It's a wonderful yarn. It's very not Tracy color because it's blue. And I normally don't gravitate towards blue, but this one I just had to get. I'm still not quite sure why. It's beautiful, but you know, blue, I'm not really my thing. But this is just great. So this is what it looks knit up. It's coming up wonderful. It kind of reminds me of the beach. And here is not a full pattern repeat. I have not finished one pattern repeat yet, but you know, I still think this looks great. So this is my shirt. I'm alternating skeins in the middle of the back. Just, yeah, why not? I'm trying that for this one. And as I did my generic sweater pattern, I have some shorter rib shaping to bring the back up further, or the front lower, whatever you want to call it. And I'm very happy with how it's knitting up so far. The only thing that's a bit, there are no rest rows with the lace pattern. It's patterned on every single row, which, you know, normally it's like you knit one row and you have to think about it, and then there's just one knit, knit, knit row. Not with this one. It's patterned on every row, but I really like how it looks, and I like how this feels. It's going to be so nice. So yeah, this is going to be great. What I also did, I used my generic pattern, but I did do the hem the way the Imogen pattern says, which is, you know, garter instead of rib. I'm not sure if this makes sense to you, but I did not want to knit a bottom-up raglan top in the round. So I'm just doing it top down. Because with the bottom up, you know, and with only 2 skeins, I'm not on the short side, you know, I should have enough. But running out just before you finish when you do bottom up sucks. But it's also kind of, if you have 30 grams left. So I'd rather have my top be a bit longer or a bit shorter at the bottom than at the top. So that's what I'm doing. And the last thing that I started is a crochet project. I don't like crochet, but I really wanted to have this, so that's what I'm doing. This is a piddle loop bag. They were very much the bag maker back in the day, a few years ago, and they stopped making bags, and I have 3 of them. I'm very happy with it. This is their large wedge, and in here is my granny stripe blanket and a bunch of minis. So for this project, I'm using mini skeins that I specifically bought or that I received in swaps. So I'm using this Knit Pro crochet hook on the 3.5 millimeter side, and this is what I have so far. This is what it looks like. It is this wide. You can see the whole thing barely. It's this wide. I did a chainless foundation, which is absolutely amazing. I found this, I just Googled and clicked on the first blog link that was not a video. And it worked out wonderful. It looks great. It's super easy to do. And it helped me determine the width of the blanket that I wanted. So yeah, just gonna show you one side. I am, like I said, using just mini skeins and things that I received in swaps. It's very, very mindless. And yeah, my plan is to get 1 mini in a day, roughly. And also once a week, I want to weave in the ends. I am crocheting them in as good as I can, but I still want to doubly secure them because this is going to get used and it's going to be thrown in a washer. So I need this to work. So that's all the things I'm working on right now. I have nothing for knitting in the future, which is a lie. I have a million things I want to make, but I want to focus on getting the henlay done and working on the Imogen, and then I'm going to think about new stuff. So for spinning, I have some spinning. I have this bag that's the second half of the combo spin swap that was put together by the Wild Onion, Fun Onion Ravelry group. And I received the fiber as a gift. I still do not know from whom, but what I got was 8 1-ounce pieces, 8 different fibers. So I separated them in half, and I spun up half just the way they are on this bobbin. I spun this on my Michi von Schwarzenstein. It's a German handmade, handcrafted wheel. This is the first half. The second half, I stripped the pieces once more and mixed them up. So this is what the other bobbin will look like. It's on the wheel. I did not break it because why should I? So yeah, this is the first half. I'm excited about this. And then I also started something on my S45. It's a Luette wheel, and I have 1/2 done and the other half is still in one piece. So this is the fiber. It's hand dyed by my friend Sandra from Kunterbunte Wolle. And this is the first bobbin. I'm super happy with it. I'm not intending this to be a specific weight or for a specific project. I just sat down and wanted to spin. I think it's going to be a worsted weight. So it might be a hat or something like that in the future. Really happy with it. It's very nice to spin. It's a BFL and super bright nylon blend. So very nice. My spinning mojo is back. Can you tell? I'm very excited. So I hope to have both of these yarns finished by next podcast. We'll see. And then Tour de Fleece is coming up very soon. I'm super excited. Do not know yet what to spin. Well, I talked about it last time, how I wanted to spin up the fiber that I received from my friend Barbara. And I think that's still my plan. But with an added bonus, because look at what I have for new stuff. I received this beautiful braid from my friend Barbara from Almrausch Wolle. And it goes perfectly with the other ones. So I'm going to do a 3 braid combo for the green and a 3 braid combo for the yellow orangish one. And then it's going to be a striped project of some sort. It's gorgeous. Her fiber is just amazing. So that's the first thing for new stuff. Other new stuff. I'm in the Isolde Club. I received it as a gift from my husband for Christmas. So if you're in the Isolde Club, you have not got your yarn, look away. You should have gotten it because this was delivered when I was on vacation. So it's been in my house for a while. This is Callisto. It's Isolde Club Special Edition. And I think she dyed it herself, if I understand that correct. It's a BFL and silk blend. And it is blue. It's very much blue. The pattern that came with it is a shawl cowl thing. It's, you know, it's shaped as a shawl, but it's actually a cowl. It's a very nice pattern. I like this yarn very much, but I'm not sure if the color is good for me. So I'm not sure what to do. If I'm going to keep this or, you know, or not. It feels amazing. And it's BFL, and I love BFL. So yeah, this is the Isolde Club pattern, the Isolde Club yarn. Quite happy with it. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it for myself or not. Then, yesterday, I had a dentist appointment. Yay. Isn't that wonderful? So, after being there for over 2 hours, I decided to go to the yarn shop, which is straight across the street. And I bought yarn for a specific project. I got 6 skeins of green and 4 skeins of the yellow. I'm going to show you the label in a second. The color, the yarn is Linate by Lana Grossa. It is a polyamide, linen, cotton, and rayon blend. And I got it specifically for a pattern in the newest pom-pom magazine that I also got when I was on vacation. And it's this pattern here. So I will make this. The green is my main color, the yellow is the contrast. I think it's going to be nice. And for every summer top that I want to make, I have to buy yarn if I don't want to use like fingering weight sock yarn, because summer blends with cotton or linen or silk, I just don't have. I have wool, like 95% of my stash is wool. So I had to get it. Also, reward for a dentist, I would say, because that was not nice. Good. I received the newest pom-pom, and this pattern that I'm going to make is my favorite. And I also quite like this one here. Yeah, let's keep it at that. I also placed an order with Die Mercerie, that's a yarn shop in Munich, and I received the heaviest book on the planet. So I got Making Number 5. I showed it briefly last week because I intended to use the Giddy Aunt yarns for a top that's in here, but I have found yarn that's better suited in my stash for the Ula top by Isabel Kremer. I'm going to show it to you if I can find it. Can I find it? Of course I can't. So I have a wonderful yarn from Life in the Long Grass in my stash that is perfect for the top, because this top I think needs a bit of a more drapey fabric to really look nice. And the Imogen that I'm knitting out of the Giddy Aunt yarns now is great out of the wool blend, of the wool yarn. So this is the top I'm going to knit out of Life in the Long Grass yarn. Then I also bought the newest Len because I have all of them and I love them. And I got the Vintage Shetland Project by Susan Crawford. I looked at this book when I was in Edinburgh at EYF, but it is so heavy that I did not want to get it there because, you know, I had to carry it back home and I didn't want to do that. So I ordered it from Die Mercerie. It's super heavy. It's gigantic. It has almost 500 pages, I think. It's enormous. Yep, it's almost 500 pages. It is super interesting to read the history of the garments and the inspiration behind all of these. If you want to know more about this book, Fruity Knitting have a episode out with Susan Crawford, and she's talking about this book and all the projects in it. So check that out because I'm not good at stuff like that. So I won't talk about it anymore. That is it for new stuff. Is it? Yes, it is. Now, reading, listening, watching. I haven't read a single word. Oh, it's actually not true. I did finish a book. I didn't bring it. I read a QI book. It's like 1,411 facts. Just random facts that are put together in this book. And it was my toilet book because, you know, why not? It was just a open it up and read a page book. So I finished that. There was very interesting facts in there. Now for watching, no, listening. First listening. I finished Emerald Green by Casting Gear in the English version. Having listened to all 3 books now in English, I do like them in English. I prefer them in German because German is the original language for the books. The English version is nice. It's okay. It got better in books 2 and 3. And then I decided to finish the Harry Potter series because I have listened to the first 6 books already. So I'm listening to book 7 right now in English again, narrated by Stephen Fry, because I love Stephen Fry. And I just, yeah, I have to listen to that at least once a year. Now for watching. I have actually watched stuff that's not YouTube. I finished watching The Quest season 2. That is, it's a very fun show. It's a lot like Warehouse 13. If you watch that, that is very similar. I don't even know how to describe it. It's about magical artifacts and a library that holds all of these things. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. And then after I finished that one, I got back onto Grimm, and I am now on season 3. And I really like Grimm a lot. I'm quite the fan of Monroe. I think he's amazing. So yeah, I'm watching Grimm right now and finished The Quest season 2. And I enjoy all of these things. You know, they are both mystery. So if you are into mystery, you might enjoy them. If you do not like mystery at all, you won't. So it's as easy as that. For sewing, I have a plan. I need a sip of drink. So I have a plan for sewing. Out of the newest magazine, or newest issue of Nähtrend, it's issue number 5, 2018, I am going to make the very first pattern, and it's this one. It's a pair of pants. I'm not sure if these pants will look good on me because I am not a stick insect. I'm a human. And, you know, these super high, super wide-legged pants look generally better on very thin people. I don't care. I'm just going to try. So, for the main fabric up here, I have just normal denim. That's my main fabric. For the bottom contrast cuffs, I have another denim that has little Edelweiss embroidered on it. These are not daisies, they are Edelweiss. And I have absolutely no clue what that is in English, but this is it. That's my contrast. And then I used another contrast fabric for the inside pocket because they want you to cut both pieces of the pocket and the pants out of denim. And I decided to do the front pocket piece that you will never ever see out of cotton, just to take out some of the bulk. And I found this fabric. And you know, just this makes me so happy. If I hold all of these together, this is just the perfect match. It's just, yeah, makes me very happy. I am not going to do different colored buttons. I have decided to go for just one button because I have the patterning on the bottom of the pants and I just didn't want to distract. So I have a zip that I found in my stash and I'm just going to use these buttons. They come out of a very big pack that my husband bought in Singapore. Yes, Singapore. So I'm using all of the things that I'm using are from my stash. And I was able to cut everything with just teeny tiny bits of leftover. So that's wonderful. That makes me very happy. What I had to do is I had to make the pants bigger because apparently I am too fat for knitting magazine patterns. They go up to a 44, maybe a 46. If I buy a pair of pants, I need a 44. That's a German size. No idea what that is in other languages, in other countries, no idea. But if I buy pants, I need a 44. If I sew a pair of pants, I need a 48. So yeah, I had to enlarge the pattern quite a bit. But I think I got it right And I did make a sloper with a crafty class, and I put that on my enlarged pattern pieces that I, made bigger, and it fits perfectly, so I should be fine. And I really hope to make these over the course of the next week. So I'm cleaning my room downstairs because I really want to go down in my room to sew. So I'm cleaning that right now, reorganizing, getting it ready, and then I'm gonna sew. So that is it for sewing. I want to make these. And then now comes the big part. I'm going to talk a lot because I had the idea of doing a Q&A for my 100th episode, and I'm going to do that in a second. First off, we are going to have a VKN this Saturday. And this Saturday is, what is this Saturday? This Saturday is June 9th. June 9th, we will have a VKN, 9 p.m. Berlin time. That's my time. So if you're interested, go over to the Ravelry group, check out the VKN thread, and I will provide a link that you just have to click. That's all. So now on to the Q&A. I hope I have found all the questions. I have found some on YouTube and have found some on in the Ravelry group. So I'm going to start with YouTube because I think there's only one comment there with questions. And I'm just going, I hope this is correct. Josie wanted to know, how exactly do you tension your yarn when you knit, and how do you avoid pain knitting so much? I'm tensioning my yarn. I'm a continental knitter. So let's get some yarn. So I always tension my yarn like this. So it goes in here around the index, and this is how I tension my yarn. And this is how I knit. This is my tension, my left index finger. Avoiding pain knitting so much, I would love to have an answer for that, but I don't, because I am in pain sometimes. I'm taking it slow at the moment. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am taking it slow at the moment. But I have overdone it in the past, and I ended up with tendinitis, and yeah, I actually do not know how to avoid pain knitting so much. I'm sorry. I would love to tell you. Next question, also from Josie. How did you meet your husband? Well, that's a fun story. My husband is actually best friends with my ex-boyfriend, who ended up being my best man for the wedding, because I didn't want to have a bridesmaid because I'm not a girly girl. So yeah, when I met my ex-boyfriend and we started dating, we very, very soon realized that this is not working. You know, we're great as friends, but awful as a couple. So we decided to stop that and just remain friends. And about half a year after that, I started dating my husband, and that was almost 15 years ago. In June, no, not in June, in August. In August is our 15th anniversary and 10th wedding anniversary. I'm old. So yeah, that's how I met my husband. Very, very short, actually. Would you podcast about some bread cake pastry recipe at some point? I don't think so, because that would require, you know, if I just had to talk about what I made, I could do that, but no, I don't think so. How long can you spend spinning in one session? Well, that depends. If my arms are good, I can spin all day long. But that also just really happens if I have spinning club in my house or if I'm at a retreat. Otherwise, I just maybe 2 hours in one sitting. Did you ever experience eyesight headaches issues when spinning? Nope, didn't. I don't. Never. So yeah, I think that's the questions that I had on YouTube, but there's a lot of questions on Ravelry. So let's get started. I'm just going to use your Ravelry name because that's the fastest and easiest way. So Always Happy Feet asked. She says, "Hi Teresa, You probably answered that already somewhere. I didn't. How is it that your English is so perfect and you are so comfortable in that language? Well, perfect. Thank you very much for the compliment, but it's far from being perfect. Why I'm so comfortable in the language, I'm not sure. I actually do not know. It's when my husband and I moved in together 13 years ago. I'm so old. We decided to ditch a TV and just watch DVDs and, you know, stream stuff. And we also decided to watch things in their original language. So we started watching everything in English. We haven't watched a dubbed movie in 13 years. I only watched stuff in German when my dad and my mom are here. My mom is very good in English, but she just doesn't want to watch stuff in English. And my dad just couldn't, you know, he didn't understand it. And so that did a lot for my English. Also podcasts. I watched a lot of podcasts. I don't anymore. I do watch some, but I used to watch a lot of them. And that helped. I listened to English audiobooks. And I think all of those things contributed to me being more comfortable in the language. And the reason why I'm doing this podcast in English is because all of my crafting takes place in English. Every pattern I knit is English. Most of the sewing patterns I use are English. It's just harder for me to think of the German terms when it comes to knitting than just use the English ones. Even if I write down a pattern for myself, it's written in English. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure how it was that I'm so comfortable in the language, which I am. I am comfortable, but far from being perfect. Next question, also from Always Happy Feet. Will you return in your job being a teacher in the next future? Well, I will, but not in the near future. My husband and I, we talked about this, and you know, I get a lot of strange looks when I say I'm a stay-at-home mom, because it's like, this is the 21st century. Yes, it is. And it is my decision. And I have decided that I want to stay home and take care of my family. So, you know, that is feminism, making your own decisions. So yeah, I digress. We have decided that I will stay at home until my son has finished at least first grade. Because, so several reasons. We did the calculations, you know, and I wouldn't go full time. I would go part time, and that's not worth it, really. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Also, the place where we live, school starts super early, and the place where I teach starts half an hour later. So even if I manage to only have like 4 classes in the morning and my son has 4 classes in the morning, he still ends up finishing half an hour before I do. And I have to drive here, which means that he would wait for an hour. And yeah, for a small child, I don't want to have that. And also, if I go back full time, I need to have someone who takes care of my son. So I need to pay for that person. And also that just doesn't make it worth. So I will go back to teaching, but not in the next few years, just because it doesn't make any sense. Now, next questions. How do you, it's from I Love My Garden. How do you join your little leftovers of singles as you're applying them into your end of year use up all the leftovers yarn? I join them as you would join them if you break your yarn. If you break your single, you just overlap it and have 3 strands in one point, and then it's only 2 again. That's how I join. That's it. Nothing special. Now, I have no idea how to say that. Soti, maybe? How many knitted things, sweaters, cardigans, tops do you already have, and how do you store them? By color? No, I don't store them by color. I store them roughly by weight, you know, how thick they are. I do have maybe 25 knitted garments, I think, maybe. And how do you wash them? In the washer. If it doesn't survive the washer, it doesn't survive my house. Even my hand spun things. I put them in the washer on the wool setting on cold with very little friction, and it has always worked out. or I wash them by hand. Do you use special washing powder? Just wool wash? Do you always try and knitted things dry? Do you always dry your knitted things by laying them down? No, I don't. Socks I always hang. Sweaters I normally lay down unless they have a silk content, maybe like this one. I dried this one hanging up because it has this drapey fabric, this drapey fiber in it, and I learned recently that you should hang those things for drying. In one of your earlier episodes, you once announced to make a video about your hobby craft room. Is that still up to date, or have you changed your mind? I kind of changed my mind. I don't think that I want to do that. Sorry. Now, comadres, you ask how it came that I started to spin. Well, that's a very good question. I actually, when I started knitting and I really got into knitting and I learned that there are friends of mine who can spin, I kind of wanted to start trying that to make my own yarn. And then because I'm roughly a home ec teacher, I had to learn how to spin in my own education because it used to be part of the, the teaching plan some years ago, and my professors thought that it would be good for us to learn at least, the easiest way of making yarn with a spindle, just so we did know how to do it if it ever came back into the curriculum. Is that the word? So that's how I had to learn it, and it just stuck with me. Trishka wants to know, will you or have you already done a knitting needle review? I have not done that yet. I want to. I want to do a review on my interchangeable needle sets, and it's going to be very unbiased because I bought all of them, and I'm also very honest, so I want to do that. I've wanted to do that for a few years now, actually. Maybe I will do it sometime soon. Next question, also from Trishka. How many sweaters have you made so far this year? This one was number 7. 7. 4 of them out of fingering weight yarn, 2 hand spun and 1 chunky. Puff the Fluff has questions. Lots of them. So, first question. I'm always very impressed by the amount of work you get done in 1 or 2 weeks. Thanks. Can I ask how many hours a day you usually spend crafting? So I would say during the week, I spend about an hour in the morning when my son's at Kita after I've done all the household stuff that I have to do. And then maybe an hour in the afternoon and 2 or 3 hours a night. So I would say between 4 and 6 hours a day. Oh, what's that? Go away. Something popped up on my computer. Okay, so yeah, I think that's a good one. A good estimate. Second question. If you had to knit from only one publication for the next 10 years, which one would it be? And only one designer? What do you like in this publication and this designer? So if I had to stick to one publication, I'm going to be cheeky and say the Interpretations books, because I almost like all of the patterns, and Joji Locatelli and Vera are 2 of my favorite designers. So I would stick to those books because I just like the designs so much. And if I had to stick to one designer, I think, as these 2 are already in, with the publication, I would go for Stephen West because I just love Stephen West's designs. I'm not the biggest shawl knitter, but I really want to make almost all of his sweaters. So, yeah. Third question. What is your ultimate favorite sweater shawl pattern so far? So my favorite sweater pattern, I would say, is, what did I love? My favorite sweater pattern. That's actually a very good question. I'm going to go with the combination that I wrote up of the Ravello and the Flex Light, because that is so adaptable that you could just do anything with it. I think that's it. Yeah. And for shawl, shawl pattern. I'm gonna go with the very first shawl I ever made, and that is the Ulmus pattern by Kirsten Kapoor. That's my very first shawl, I think, that I ever knit out of Socks that Rock Lightweight in green and brown, and it turned out amazing. So I'm gonna go with that one. Or the Fading Waves by Stephen West that I just finished. It's also a very good one. Next question. I would love to see a blanket tour, a video where you would show all of your finished and ongoing blankets and talk a bit about them. Would you consider doing it as a bonus episode? Yeah, sure. Why not? I can totally do that. I've made some blankets in the past and I'm working on quite a few at the moment. So yeah, sure. And also a video for my sweater, the sweaters that I have. I could do that. If people are interested in it, I can totally do that. That's not a big deal. Question 5. In your past videos, you talked about doing a bonus episode about your interchangeable needle sets. Well, yeah, I have not done that yet. I will. Question 6. You often talk about Germany being the land of commercial sock yarn. Would you list the commercial companies that you prefer, and if they have one, where to find their fabric shop? Because that's always what I say. Yeah, I can do that. So there's a ton of commercial sock yarns in Germany. My favorites are Opal. They do have a fabric shop, which is a Fabrikladen, which basically means an outlet store. And it is in Hechingen, which is where their company is located. I also really like Regia. They do also have an outlet shop, and that is in Saalach. I like Austermann. Their outlet shop is in Süßen, which is next to Saalach. So these two things are very easily combined. I also quite like Schoppel yarn. They do have a nice commercial sock yarn that is not Zauberball. And their outlet store is in Wallhausen, next to their company. I like online sock yarn. I like Schöller und Stahl. There's Gründel. I do not know if the latter ones have outlet stores, but I've been to the other ones and they are great. So if you are in Germany and you need to find one of those, just contact me and I will let you know. Also write down their names in your show notes, because I already tried to find out the spelling of German names and failed miserably. I can do that. German is a hard language to learn. And finally, I was wondering if you had advice to avoid to get painful wrists and fingers when we knit a long time. No, I'm sorry, I don't. I have the problem myself. What I try to do is just stop every now and then and stretch my fingers, stretch my arms, but I have no actual idea how to do it. I'm sorry. I would love to help, but that's a problem I have. Now, Crafty Mystic. What does your online name mean? Well, my online name is Schnüffeltier, and that is basically the nickname that my dad had for me when I was a small kid. So there's no explanation behind it. It's not a real word. I'm sorry. It doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry. Good. I think that is it. I think that was all of the questions that I had. Those were all the questions I had. Thank you so much for playing along with me for the Q&A. Thank you so much for sticking with me for 100 episodes. I hope to get some more in the future. This is always a lot of fun for me. And if it stops being fun, I will stop doing it. So that's the thing that I'm doing here. I am going to talk to you hopefully next week sometime. If you can and want to, please come and join the VKN on Saturday. And yeah, I think that is it. I hope you all have a wonderful time. I will talk to you again hopefully next week. And until then, enjoy everything you do. Bye.